Alright, hey guys, we are going to do a quick interview about where the gym is headed, some great ideas that we have coming along, and all the changes that are going on with our growing community. So we have Elliot, Danita, and Matt. So the first thing we're going to ask...
You would wave.
The first thing we're going to go over are the physical changes that are happening to the building as we speak.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of stuff going on. The first being... as everyone sees when they walk in, the kids room that is being built. If you know who Jeremy is, I would give him a big thank you to Matt for putting in all the time to build that, but that's basically going to be a kids room. So we knew that there was a need for a bigger space, maybe a better area for that space, so we decided to put it there just to basically build a brand new room for it. And then what would happen to the kids room is it's going to turn into a lobby. So basically when people come in, we know it's pretty intimidating to come into across the gym and then just go right onto the floor. So now they'll actually have to come in through a lobby. It'll be a little bit more friendly and we'll be able to kind of meet them there. We'll have hopefully somebody there at the front desk to be able to greet people as they come in, and then they'll go into the gym. And then what that'll also do is the kids that are coming in will come in right through that side door or that other door, and then go directly to the kids room. So we think it's just a lot better there with, again, the growth of the gym and it being so awesome, just being able to use the spaces as best we can. This room turned into an office and a brief room, and we've got an office upstairs, and then where the pro shop is right now will become another office as well. So we can do consultations and things like that. So very, very exciting changes, and we're always trying to make it better. And hopefully soon we'll mat that back area, and then I'll let the cat out of the bag. But the big ass fan, we ordered it, so we'll be here on the 20th. I can't say that it'll be up on the 20th. It just depends on Jeremy again, or if we get a person to do the electricity and stuff. We have to just see how to handle that. But it will be here, and we were happy to be able to buy it. We are people of our word, so we hit. I think we're still a little under 350, 300, yeah, something like that. But we're close enough to be able to do it. And we get it. It's hot here. So.
Yes, absolutely. Awesome. As for staff changes coming up, what do you want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, so staff changes, not much is going to change as far as the coaches that everyone has. We are getting a new coach in. He took his level 1 with me, so we started coaching around the same time. He's moving back to the area. His wife is in the medical field, and so she's taking a job here in the area. And so he'll basically be coming to coach. I mean, he's an awesome coach, got a lot of experience, really, really good friends. He's super into dogs, if that matters to anybody. But he was a dog trainer prior to coaching, and so you need your dogs taken care of.
I might, James.
But and then myself, I will be kind of going back and forth between the gyms, just kind of wherever I'm needed. While we open up next month, I'll be up there. That'll be the big focus of my time for the first couple months. But Matt will also be moving up there to help run the place. So we'll have basically just me and him, and we'll have one other admin person that's there for the first couple of months while we're starting up, and then we'll build up the coaches from there. And then as we need, we'll cycle the coaches. But for the most part, who you guys have, who the athletes have here is gonna stay.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. So congratulations, Matt. And good luck on your future move, you and Brianna. But also, we will miss you very, very much. With that being said, James, welcome to our team. We're very excited to have you. Alrighty, so right now we have been running our 6-week challenges very successfully since January. We kind of started with a smaller group. We did that in the back starting last summer. I was a part of that, and I'm very grateful to see it start from that and then make these major changes that we just feel keep people as successful as possible. As our gym grows, we have a lot of people who are making that transition from the 6-week challenge into, as they're staying, their goals are changing. So what would you like to touch on for that first?
Yeah, so the 6-week challenge has been amazing. When we started the 6-week challenge, it was something to help, I guess, to help people look past, what we always hear about CrossFit. It's very intimidating, and so bringing people together and doing a 6-week challenge to get them to understand that they can do it, they can be around the same type of people that do it. It's definitely just opened up a whole new world of people that are coming in, and we're able to help. We love it. I love that we're able to use it to make sure that the people that are joining the community are people that we want to be in the community as well, which is awesome, because obviously we're very protectful of the community. But the thing that I think is happening, like you said, is the people are finishing the 6-week challenge, and it just in general, people kind of get lost. Like, okay, where do we go from now? And I think we do a good job at modifying athletes, and we do a good job at we give people zoning, or we give them things that may work for them. But I want to do better, right? I want us to be able to do better for that. And so what I mean by that is, I want to be able to, when people are done with the 6-week challenge, to give them the ability to have something that's going to fit for them for the rest of their life, right? Like, we know 6-week challenge, you're going to get great. You're going to build great habits. You're going to weigh and measure your food. You're going to eat really healthy, foods, or should I say nutritious foods. But after that, you can't stay that way. You can't stay in whether you're if you're in a deficit, which is like a caloric deficit, which means that if you're supposed to be eating 2,000, you're eating 1,300 calories. That's a caloric deficit. You can't sit there forever. And the more we kind of see people come out of the 6-week challenge, we see people trying to stay there and thinking that less is more, or thinking that if I have a cake or a cookie, that the world is gonna collapse. And so we want to really get to the point where we find and we offer ways to help people to just really get the plan that's going to fit them, whether that's zone, whether that's keto, whether that's something that just works specifically for you. Like, that's what we want to try to push. And that's where I think that's what our focus is going to be on for the next 3 or 4 months is just in general, the recovery, the rest, the overall aspect of not just fitness, nutrition, but putting it all into the same thing and just saying like health coaching, and just kind of looking at lifestyles and things like that. So we're pretty excited about that. You guys have anything?
Wellness coaching?
Yeah, wellness coaching.
Yeah.
I am super excited about it. As somebody who has struggled with being able to stay on a plan and dealing with the disappointment of the plan not working at times and not understanding why I don't feel as great all the time as I did when I started, and the ability to help other people navigate through that as a wellness coach is super exciting. We can make changes to your nutrition and to your training and to your rest and to your mood and all these things to make you feel stronger every day. So I'm super pumped about doing this.
Yeah. Awesome. And I know we will talk about nutrition here in a moment, but one thing that all of you guys have just touched on that we've always kind of pushed, but I think we're starting to transition more into, because we're looking more at wellness and how to fit fitness and nutrition and everything else in there, is mindset. And you recently just went to a seminar about mindset. Tell us, what was the number one thing you took away from that we may not have been doing before, that now you see us starting to pick up?
Yeah, look, I got goosebumps. I just get excited. I just get excited about I don't think that we are not doing anything specifically that they said. What the big, huge takeaway from mindset as far as nutrition, and really it's mindset on anything. is having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, right? And so a growth mindset is just that. Like your everything that happens, everything that you do is a way to get better and to grow as a person, as an athlete, or whatever the case may be, right? So, and a fixed mindset is like, no matter what happens, it's always someone else's fault, or this one thing is going to mess up my, if I mess up, I use very loosely, mess up in the morning, it messes up my whole day. Like, that's a fixed mindset. The person that's like, cursing people out because they're sitting, in traffic, there's nothing you can control about that. So let's figure out a way to make this work for us, right? And so like a growth mindset person might take that traffic jam, and instead of freaking out and being upset, might put a podcast on and make your car like a classroom, basically, and use that to your advantage. And so it was like that with nutrition, and being that you've got to look at a growth mindset. So even if, and again, using terms very loosely, like even if you have something bad, right? And then the next day you maybe don't feel great, well, what did you learn from that, right? Like if I drink a cup of milk, or if I go out and I, drink the night away, the next day I know that I feel like crap, right? So I'm not going to dwell on the fact that I drank, like that's already happened, it's done. But now I know when I drink that I'm going to feel that, right? So I know, and it all is basically a little a data point or learning experience from that. And so that's the biggest thing with, I think when it comes to their health coaching, nutrition coaching, is just having that open mindset of learning. And again, in the gym, I mean, if, we preach that all the time, right? It's always, let's grow, let's be better, let's figure out ways to learn from the failures, if that's what you want to call it, right? When really a failure is just trying something new. Right, like that's all it is. So it was it was a great course. It really was. But that's the biggest thing, is that growth versus fixed.
Awesome, love it. And it's always amazing to hear different perspectives, especially as coaches, because we meet so many different types of people that come through our gym. And although we're all on this same journey, we all have our individual branch of this tree, I guess you can call it. So speaking of nutrition, we will start kind of delving into that a little more this summer. What do you want to talk about with that?
Yeah, so myself and Matt just came back from basically like a nutrition seminar from a company called IN3 or NCI, whichever one, Nutritional Coaching Institute, is actually who does the seminars. IN3 is the nutrition. They actually do the health coaching. They do basically very similar to like what we're going to start offering.
Gotcha.
So we went through them, and we learned just so much stuff about how nutrition plays a role in in training and in just everyday life activities. So basically, what we're going to do to try to facilitate this a little more is we actually just came up. We all did. You were here, but we all came up with, we're going to do basically like a CrossFit deprivation wellness day, where we're going to bring in, we're going to do a brief or a seminar on techniques and as far as like technique and threshold training and things like that, and how that plays a role, and why practice and training is, if not more important, but just as important as the competing side of the house, and why practicing things and getting better at technique actually makes you stronger, right? Not the physical, not like we're lifting more weight, but if we could just fix the technique, it could technically make you stronger. We'll talk about things like that. Then we're gonna do we're gonna have like a little breakfast. We're gonna offer it. We're gonna get all the breakfast stuff, and then Coach Anita is going to do CrossFit Kids session. Then once she's done with that, we're going to go into financial fitness, which with Ashley, who's a member of our gym. She's been helping us out with the financial side of the house, because again, it's a full life, that we're trying to coach. So if your finances aren't straight, we know that you're going to be more stressed. You're going to, your body is taking a stress, is basically creating a stress response because you're stressing about money. And then we're going to go into nutrition, and we're going to talk about all sorts of things. the stress response being one of them. We're going to talk about flexible dieting. We're going to talk about living in a deficit as far as calorie goes. We might talk about HPA axis dysfunction, which I know a big piece of a big group in the gym is probably, if not suffering, but very close to it if they keep down the road that they're going. So it's really exciting because there's so many people that I know can benefit from that knowledge, and it's going to be completely 100% free for everybody. Like I hope everyone in Columbus and Phoenix City just come through the door and come listen to this. So
it's a public event, not
a public
CFD
event. Yeah, you bring whoever you want, to any of that stuff. You can bring whoever you want. I don't it's that important to me at this point that we're putting that information out that it's going to be free. So take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything you guys want to add?
Well, I mean, it's not just, I think it's good that you're opening the public because it's not just a problem that athletes are having, it's a problem that is throughout the entire world. So the entire world as a whole are under eating and working out more or putting themselves in a deficit calorically so that their bodies aren't able to repair themselves. They're not getting the right amount of sleep, the stress. So I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And just to kind of show this point, we have our athletes, they get on an in-body scanner, right? And they, we want to try to make it as accurate as possible. So they get an in-body scanner, we do some calculations, we can calculate BMR, right? And so we know that BMR is basically like what we need, our calories that our body needs to burn to live, right? To function. That's not including like stressors and day-to-day things, right? And so most people, like myself, I know my BMR is around 1850. So if you have someone who, I don't know anybody who's under 1,000. I've never seen under 1,000, right? But you have people that are eating under 1,000 calories a day, right? Which doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Because unfortunately, the way we were taught, is that less, work out more. Eat less, work out more.
We've been taught it for so long.
Right. And so and then what ends up happening is your body's like, to say this tactfully, go F yourself, right? Like I'm going to hold on to everything I have because you're not giving me what I need, right? And then you end up feeling really crappy. You're upset because you're not seeing gains in the gym, but yet you're not fueling your body. It's like the equivalent of like you go buy a Ferrari, right? And then you're just going to put regular gas in that baby. Like it's not going to run like as good as it will when you put premium gas in it, or if you don't put gas in it at all. So we're excited to kind of put those lessons out and teach people a little bit more about it.
So kind of directing that towards our athletes here in the gym, although bring everybody, to this, it'll be an incredible event. So we have athletes who are aesthetic based, they want to get those summer abs or, the big chest or the big booty, because we got our big booty boot camp coming up. Whatever it is, their goal is aesthetics. They want that look for themselves. And then we have people who are more performance-based, whether it's metcons, whether it's strength. Of course, we always advocate all of it to be a well-rounded athlete since CrossFit, we do not specialize.
Right.
So how would this be beneficial for those athletes?
So I'm going to pass this to Matt a little bit, but I'm gonna hit I guess we can hear it from both of us, but basically what it comes down to is you're going to get a different answer dependent on the athlete, right? Yeah, I know, they laugh because I always say it's dependent on the athlete, but that's what it is, right? And like that's the thing is that we know that not everything is going to work for everybody, right? And so I say that because if for the most part, right? You would say for the most part, if you're an athlete that's been in this gym for over, let's say, a year, unfortunately, you're not going to really be able to do both, right? You cannot focus. Now, we're talking about focus, right? So I focus completely on, I want to get down to 8% body fat for males, and then whatever, 15% and lower for females, or 18 or whatever, depending on the person. So if we have a goal there to get lower body fat and aesthetics, then we're not going to perform as well, right? Because to get to aesthetics, I have to cut the calories that I'm eating. And if I'm performing really well, then I have to give my body fuel to perform, right? And now the reason I say that is because there are people who can do that, right? Now the people that can do that just means that are the people that they are on their first year or so of CrossFit, right? And that the reason being is because at that point you will like lean out and you will have performance gains. But if you're at a deficit while you're doing that, it's not because like magically your body's getting stronger without the fuel. It's because it's a neurological adaptation, which means that they are learning the skill as opposed to just putting on the muscle to be able to lift weight, right? It's like when we see people come in here and, you know, literally they'll back squat and then 2 weeks later they put 30 pounds on their back squat, right? We know as advanced athletes, like, you put 30, and I say advanced as an advanced age, like so we've been doing CrossFit for 3, 4, 5 years. We know that putting 30 pounds on a back squat, like, I mean, you're talking about years at this point. You know, we put 5 pounds in 6 months, we're, you know, doing backflips. Yeah, exactly. Right? So what happens is people do that their first year, and then they think that that's going to continue to happen, right? And so that's where it's kind of like, it's going to be different for everybody, especially if you're not brand new to CrossFit. Yeah. Did I cover it all?
You covered quite a bit.
Okay.
What I will say is that, you know, everyone is different when it comes to nutrition. What may work for someone is not going to work for everyone. That's why templates don't work as well. You Plateau, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, you name it, Green Juice, they're all out there. You're going to plateau eventually, and that's just because you're creating that deficit for your body. On the part of athletes wanting aesthetics as well as performance gains, like you said, you're not going to be able to have both. You're either going to have, down to 6% body fat and look shredded for the beach, but when it comes to Metcon time, you might get beat by other people. You may not be able to lift as much as you usually do. You're going to feel probably a little bit more tired, a little more sluggish, just due to the fact that you're cutting so many calories from your body. But what we don't want to happen is for you to remain in that forever. You need to eventually, link up with one of us, which we'll talk about later, an actual seminar, and get you back up to where you need to be calorically so that we're not doing irreparable damage to our bodies overall. And that's kind of the whole thing that we learned there, is that people are doing so much damage to their bodies through their hormones and everything else that is causing people to, get sick and diseases and so on and so forth. So.
Yes, absolutely. And I love the 2 points. You made one and you made one. So as coaches, one of his favorite answers is it's dependent on the athlete. And of course, as people in general, it's so easy to I just want an answer. What's the clear-cut answer?
Yeah.
And coaching, although there's much science behind it, there's also an art to it. But I love that you say that it's dependent on the athlete, because with this new nutrition platform that we are learning about and testing right now, it is dependent to each athlete. So that athlete should see the best results. That's for them. There's going to be a little bit of trial and error. There's going to be a learning curve for both the coach and the athlete in the fact of how their bodies are responding. But going into your point about how you can pick one, but it's really for wellness overall. You have a goal, aesthetics, performance, you can switch between both. It's dependent on the athlete. There's a process that happens, but ultimately there's going to be periods where you just, for wellness, it's pure wellness. And food is medicine. So Bear Roots Pharmacy, who is one of our sponsors for Battle of the Border, that's one of their sayings, as coaches and also recovery coach, food absolutely helps us recover, and that also helps us maintain while we have different periods of our life that other things are taking priority, such as school or job or kids or whatever it may be, because we have times in the gym where that can be our number one focus, and that's amazing, but then there's times where something else in life comes up and we want to hit everything in life so that we're well balanced. So I love that it's dependent on each athlete, and I also love that you said it's overall wellness, because we all want to be in here when we're 72 years old, older, doing amazing things. And can we deadlift 400 pounds? Maybe, maybe not. But we're well, and we have the spectrum where we are reducing sickness.
Exactly. I mean, food as wellness is a great point. I mean, you know, we use food to help ourselves, and by the only time that we use a template in this gym really is for the first 6-week challenge, and that's just to introduce you to the new types of foods or types of foods that you need eating on a regular basis, so that we can take you to that next step after the 6 weeks and transfer you over into something else that will sustain you over long periods, which is, I mean, the CrossFit way as well. You know, sustainment over for life, being healthy over a long period of time.
Yeah, and it you know, and the great part about that, and I mean, absolutely, like food is medicine, and 100%, you know, and you know, I tell people this all the time, even when working out, you know, when we have people who, you know, rip their hands on a bar, or they get upset because they didn't make a lift, it's, you know, I always ask the question, like, is this gonna matter 10 years from now? Like, are you going to think about this one thing 10 years from now? And I think, you know, I think about that when it comes to nutrition too, because, you know, the fact that you get healthy and strong is an accumulation of all of the stuff you do, right? You put in hard work, like you're putting in months and months to get a handstand push-up, and then boom, you get a handstand push-up, but it's not one thing that did it, right? And so nutrition is the same way, and I feel like people forget that, you know. So it's, yes, we want to eat foods that are nutrient dense, right? Those are going to be your good foods, right? That's what people consider good foods. So your nutrient dense stuff. But at the same time, like, I want to go somewhere and I want to, like, on my birthday, I want to be able to eat a piece of cake, right? Yeah. And so the thing that, you know, is also great about this and this way of thinking is in the way of you know, building people's plans, is that stuff is going to have a place, right? And you shouldn't feel guilty about eating something that's not healthy, right? Because it has its place, right? Like, you still have to live, you still want to be social, like, and food is a social thing. And so, again, just like the way we were brought up, or the way you hear in like media and stuff, is that it's almost like you have to earn your food. Right? Like you eat something, and then like if I eat something I shouldn't eat, I need to spend 2 hours in the gym. Like, it's not working like that, you know? And then the other piece of it is that, you know, it's one time. Right now, again, if you're creating a, you know, we talk about the 80-20, right? Like, and we'll talk about it a little bit more in nutrition, but 80% is going to be your nutrient-dense foods, and then 20% is whatever you want, right? Now, if you're the other way, of course, right? Then you're going to have some issues and things like that. But the bottom line is, like, it has to fit the athlete, right? And you have to be eating things that, yes, we want to eat healthy things, and yes, it takes a physical toll, like it changes things physically. But at the same time, like, if I'm stressing so much about what I'm eating, then everything I'm doing with food is negated, right? Because I'm creating so much stress in my body. So, like, I would rather somebody eat the piece of cake than think about it for the whole day, you know, eat it and then feel guilty for the rest of their life. Like, you know what I mean? And so that's kind of like the things that we're trying to push a little bit more with this new way of kind of doing things. And it's not new.
It's Anita was saying that she heard about, so tell them about that.
Well, yeah, it's very interesting because I did Eat to Perform certification about 2 years ago, and we went through all these different transitions, which have been great as far as nutrition, but it's like we brought it back to the same concepts of building different plans for each person, recognizing that we have to eat in certain ways to heal our body for some of us, to fuel our body for others. And all I can say about it is, guys, like, this stuff's been around forever. It's science. It is science at its base, and we can't fail there. So if any of these things these guys are talking about you're experiencing, you're not PRing anymore, or you're in here killing yourself in workouts but you're not seeing the stuff you want, you're tired, or you're feeling guilty about a cupcake, or any... Hey guys, so we have some new technology that we're kind of figuring out right now. So back again just to finish this up. So, are you feeling tired? Are you feeling less than happy? Are you struggling with your eating plan? You're struggling with sleep? Are you feeling like you should be able to eat a cupcake if you want a cupcake at times without the guilt? I need you to be here on June 2nd, okay? Food can be the answer to all of these problems, and we can help you. I need to see you there.